everybody. Thank you for joining us. I am so excited to introduce to you Alka Joshi, the author of the bestseller, The Henna Artist. Hello, Alka. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Alexandra, for having me.
We are so pleased to announce the second novel we're publishing at Nemira and translating into Romania, The Secret Keeper of Jaipur. And I'm very thrilled to let all your fans know that it's actually a sort of sequel to The Henna Artist. So I wanted to start by you telling them what adventures you're sending them into this time.
Okay. The Secret Keeper of Jaipur started because Malik, one of the characters from the henna artist, he was only 8 years old. He was a street child at the time. And now he is 20 years old. He's had the benefit of this amazing boarding school education up in Shimla in the Himalayan mountains in the north of India. And he is a posh young man now. He has been to school with all these wealthy people. He knows how to dress better. He has a better haircut. And instead of just wearing open sandals, now he wears closed-toed shoes and so on. And he has become involved with a young tribal woman up in the mountains. This young tribal woman is a widow. She has 2 small children, and she makes her living selling these herbs and plants and flowers that she finds up in the higher reaches of the mountains. And she comes down to sell them in Shimla. Malik has gotten to know her. He really loves her. And Lakshimi, who has been his guardian, who's the henna artist in the first book, she has been his guardian for the last 12 years. And she really wants to have him, use his education as a stepping board to a career. So she is very concerned that he wants to settle down with a woman who already has 2 children. So she sends him to Jaipur because she wants him to learn the construction trade from his uncle Manu. Manu and Kanta are the ones who adopted baby Nikki in the henna artist. And so Manu is more than happy to help Lakshmi with this project of educating Malik about a career in construction. And in doing so, Malik learns about these nefarious activities that are going on with the Singhs. And we remember the Singhs from the henna artist. So they are up to all kinds of shenanigans. And Malik is going to uncover those with the help of Lakshmi and also his beloved tribal, love interest in Shimla. It's all going to come together, and it involves gold smuggling. It involves the tribal people of the mountains, and it involves, a young man who is finding himself as he is growing up and growing older.
Mm-hmm. So it's fascinating probably for everyone to hear now that the protagonist is actually Malik, who was a secondary character, let's say, in the previous novel. So I'm sure everybody's curious why you chose to continue the story with him.
I couldn't help it. I had actually started a whole other novel about a female painter in India, and it was a real painter, and I wanted to fictionalize her life. So I had done my research. I had even gone to India in 2019 and looked up all of her paintings, and I was starting that novel. But Malik is such a strong character in the henna artist. He just would not leave me alone. He kept bugging me and saying, "You've got to write my story. You've got to write my story." Because as it turned out, the final version of the henna artist that was published left out about 150 pages of information that had Malik's story in it. It had his future in it. And it also had Radha's story and her future in it. And what had happened is that over time, as the editors were telling me to, focus more on Lakshmi, I had cut out all of these other parts. So Malik is talking to me in my head, because after 10 years of working on the first novel, these characters are so alive in my imagination that Malik kept saying, "You've got to write my story. You already know so much of my story." That's why I ended up writing The Secret Keeper of Jaipur.
It's always fascinating to hear that fictional characters can actually come to life, especially for the writers, but I'm sure that for the readers as well. And I'm sure that Lakshmi is still a very powerful memory because she's such a powerful woman, and it's impossible to forget her after you read The Henna Artist. So I was wondering what her life is at the beginning of this novel, the second novel.
Oh, yeah. Lakshmi is so close to my heart. She is, of course, in every novel, and she plays a major part in every novel. So, Lakshmi, at the start of The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, has been married to Dr. Kumar from the first novel. She's been married to him for a while now. And of course, we knew that he was in love with her, but we just didn't know how she felt about him. And it took him, many years to sort of convince her that she belonged with him. So now the two of them work at the community clinic in Shimla, where they are tending to the needs of the indigenous people, like the tribal people, the one that Malik has become involved with. And Lakshmi has also grown her healing garden. Mm-hmm. So this is where she's planting all of these herbs that are becoming the herbal remedies for these indigenous people who don't like the Western medications. They don't like the smell or the idea of coming to a hospital. So they just come to the clinic, and she tends to their needs in a very organic way. Mm-hmm. So that's what she's doing. Now, what's interesting about this is that Malik's love interest, Nimmi, knows about plants and herbs, but in the higher elevations where she is from. And so she is going to teach Lakshmi about her medicinal potions that they use in her tribe. So this is how she gets involved also in working in the healing garden with Lakshmi. And I love bringing all of that sort of organic chemistry back into the fold. Because I just think that there is such a great place for healing that is taking place in either the East or the West or a combination of the two that is so important for our health.
Mm-hmm. So we're actually at the brink of the 70s in Jaipur, and you have lovely descriptions of the luxurious pink city and the royal palace. How was it to revisit that time and those places for the novel?
I miss those two Maharanis so much that I had to bring them back. Mm-hmm. And the older Maharani is very near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to bring the older Maharani back. Now, what's happened in their situation in 1969, when The Secret Keeper of Jaipur takes place, is that the Maharaja has died. And so the Maharanis are in charge. They're in charge of the purse. They're in charge of the investments that they're making with the money that they have, the income that they are generating from their properties. And so they are building all kinds of new things in Jaipur that are going to even generate more income for future generations. And the older Maharani is now completely in charge of the purse because, there are no men now at the palace to tell the ladies what to do. And I wanted to bring her back. I wanted her to be part of the solution of what is happening in Jaipur and how Malik is going to deal with the gold smuggling. And so she loves Malik, as we know from the first novel. She just found him so charming. So she's going to be a major part of the solution of what Malik is going through.
Mm-hmm. No, that thread with Malik and the Maharani and the parrot was absolutely lovely, and it had such a beautiful closure in the previous novel. So when I read the synopsis, I think last year for The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, I was like, yes, they're coming back. I want that dynamic again. So I'm sure that the readers will be happy about it.
Yeah. And Alexandra, they're coming again for the third novel that I'm writing currently. And that will be published here in the West in March of 2023. And that is going to be Radha's story. And it's going to be taking place in 1974. So we advanced the story once again. And she's going to be in Paris. And of course, Lakshmi will play a major part of it. And Madho Singh, the parakeet, will also come back for a preview.
That's so wonderful, and it's wonderful to know that we have something to look forward to, that the story will advance. I wanted to end on a more serious note, let's say, and I wanted you to elaborate on a thing that I felt is very important in your novels, that family doesn't necessarily mean blood. Because now you're talking about Malik, and Lakshmi is a big part of his life as he was in hers, and it's a novel where loyalties are put to the test, and there's a lot of connections that are not necessarily conventional ones. So I wanted you to elaborate a bit, if you will, at the end about how you see family in in this society and for these characters?
I think that we all do this. We create family wherever we live in our communities, and our family doesn't have to be related to us by blood. My husband and I, we have friends here who have become part of our family. We consider them the kind of people that we would call in an emergency, because as the world has moved, as we move from cities to farms, back to cities again, we're all sort of disconnected by, with our own blood families. And so we want to, as social animals, create family wherever we go. So Lakshmi has done that with Malik. She has done that now with Nimni, his love interest. And she has also done that, of course, with Jay Kumar, whom she ends up marrying. And then, of course, Radha does the same thing when she's in Paris with her own family. And so I just think it's so important for us all to realize that family can be whatever we want it to be. We don't have to be wedded to the family we were born into. I just think this is so important for people who somehow feel, I think, disconnected from their own birth family. And if they do, then know that there are always other people in your life whom you will feel a connection to and whom you can create a much larger connection to.
Thank you so much for that inspirational note. And I just want to end by recommending everyone to read The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, because there are a few books that I can say that you experience. You not only read, because you live through the book and you read the words, but you see the places, you feel the smells, you feel the tastes, and that's really the mark of the great writer you are, Alka, and we're very happy to translate you into Romanian.
Thank you, Alexandra. And I'm so delighted that there are Romanian readers who are reading these novels and learning so much more about my birth country.
Yes. So search for The Secret Keeper of Jaipur, and we're looking forward to seeing you for the next novel in a couple of years. Not too long, I hope. Bye-bye, Alka.